Okay, now we're live again, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're on even on Facebook. We'll go into, is everybody here? We'll go into agenda item 9. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we'll go back to executive closed session items.
Approve the settlement in Holly versus Llano County.
Got a motion by Commissioner Rasky. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sandoval. Any
Judge,
further
I did not
discussion?
hear the motion from
Being
Linda.
none, all in favor, say aye.
Judge,
Sir,
Marcy is saying something.
I did not hear the motion from Linda at all.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I made a motion to approve the settlement in Holly versus Llano County.
Okay.
and it was seconded by Commissioner Moss, or Mike
No.
Sandoval, I'm sorry.
Sandoval, okay.
And then just so Marcy can hear it, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
I abstain, Judge.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm
Jerry
gonna
Don
abstain.
abstained.
Okay.
Okay.
The only other item from close. Number 9, yeah. The only other item left is agenda item 9.
9 and 10.
9 and 10.
Sorry. Commissioner Moss, you want to do 9?
So agenda item number 9, discussion and possible action, or discussion action authorizing county judge and his or her I'm gonna start over. Discussion action authorizing county judge and or his designee, Commissioner Moss, and outside counsel Dwayne Rogers to engage in lease negotiations with Core Solar, subsequent bidder, for development and construction of a solar project on Llano school lands located in Tom Green County.
Got a motion by,
I didn't make, that wasn't a motion. I mean,
it was not a motion?
okay. I'll make a motion then. I'll make a motion to approve agenda item number 9.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Who seconded it? I did not hear that.
Agenda item 10.
Who seconded number 9?
Who am I?
This is
Hearing.
Marcy. Who did the second on number 9?
Who's seconded number 9?
I did.
Mike Sandoval.
Okay.
My microphone's on.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item 10, discussion action, extending and modifying the declaration of local disaster for public health emergency COVID-19, currently set time to expire April 30th, 2020. The court may also amend and modify the emergency management plan that was activated on March 20th, 2020. Modification, discussion, and action may include necessary additional emergency measures to assure the health and safety of Llano citizens and visitors of Llano County. These modifications as additions may be added to the declaration and or the emergency management plan. Yeah, this would be a good time for, while we were in our meetings, we had the governor come out and make I guess, significant changes to what's going to happen pertaining to COVID-19. So Becky, if you could just, yeah, you have to come up here.
Yeah, I'll get up.
All right, can y'all hear me okay on the Zoom? All right. So the governor gave a press conference at 2:30 today. He announced that his stay-home orders will expire on April 30th. He is implementing a 3-phase rollout of opening Texas. There's a 64-page report called the Open Texas Report, found on the governor's website. It actually is a little booklet. I'm assuming you could order them to be sent to you or go online and download it. And it outlines all the parameters for every entity to reopen and start engaging the public again. Has a special section on if you're over the age of 65, be sure and pay attention to these things. If you're gonna have a nail salon, do these things, etc. So phase one, that is providing the virus stays contained between now and Friday. And he shared a number of statistics. We've had a decline that's lasted for 17 days. The hospitalization rate has remained steady, and it's because of everyone's efforts in the state of Texas. He commended everyone being conscientious. And Texas has the third highest recovery rate of all states in the US. And so based on that, if everything stays as it is today, his plan is Friday, May 1, to open at 25% occupancy. Now, there'll be a caveat to that in just a minute, but 25% occupancy to museums, libraries, 25% of their actual capacity, no hands-on exhibits, any sole proprietor company or organization, group, whatever, churches, outdoor sports with no more than 4 participants at once. That would be like tennis and golf, but they have to maintain safe distances. Going into phase 2, the number of sporting participants increases. He's hoping phase 2 will come on around May 18th. And that occupancy rate is going to be 50% when you get to phase 2. He's also says all retail stores, movie theaters, malls, and restaurants. Now, if you're a rural county and you have 5 or fewer cases, which is Llano County, then for phase 1, we get to open at 50% occupancy.
Now, is that for nail salons?
No nail salons, no nail, hair, or barbershop, hair, nails, gyms, or bars are not opening right now. They will open tentatively mid-May, which would be that May 18th date, but and childcare centers are not 100% open. They're still open primarily for essential workers. And as people are going back into work, my internet kind of cut in and out, so we'll have to go into the booklet and read more guidelines on the childcare facilities. He says there's over 6,000 position slots that are not being taken. So there's some childcare available to people in a critical need, but I don't know all the details of how to get into that those childcare services. And they do have guidelines that have already been established. Summer camps, they don't have guidelines for those yet. And the doctors are working on those, and they're looking for safe ways to protect the kids if they go to camp. And they want to have that in place to allow for summer camps to start posting their openings. Let me see what else. And then just basically continuing the testing and tracing. He has a 3-phase rollout of that. They've already completed phase 1 of the testing, which is they have our tracing, 1,157 tracers. They developed an IT, an application for telephones and a call center. That's already done. It will be now rolled out for phase 2. They're going to add another 1,000 tracers. So they'll have 2,157 tracers, and the IT app is up and running. Call center is in place. Phase 3, they'll have 4,000 tracers across the state of Texas to test, isolate, find people they've exposed, and then quarantine the people who are at risk for 14 days. So they have this big process put in place for using the testing and the tracing. And he talked a little bit about the National Guard coming out and standing up the testing sites, and also serving in food banks, that he's deployed 1,000 National Guardsmen, men and women, to serve in the food bank. So, and this is really important, you guys. So there's a recommendation for wearing masks. It's a recommendation. It's not enforceable under the governor's mandate. So there is no jurisdiction that can impose a penalty or a fine for people not wearing a mask. So you can simply make the recommendation, but there's no arrest, there's no citation, there's no penalty, no fine for not wearing a mask, no matter what jurisdiction you live in. And he was pretty clear on that. So I think y'all know.
They do not, I mean, is there, do we have to the staff person has the right to refuse service?
I mean, that's going to be, it's the we're county versus a private entity. So a private entity, like a business in the community, they can handle their business how they want. If they want people to wear masks when they come in, they can say, you know, I'd really want you to wear a mask. It's my private business. In the county, I think as long as we can meet the needs of the community, Judge, and we keep safe, it doesn't have to look a certain way. So if we can meet that customer's needs without letting them come in and violate what we've said is our county standard, I think we're okay. We're not fining them and we're not penalizing them, which is what the governor says. But I think that there's nothing that would keep us from maintaining safe social practices. We'll get the booklet and see what it says in there. Maybe they've given us some guidance there.
And I think that we've asked the public if they come in to wear it.
Right.
It's not mandated. It's requested. If we can serve them at the door, we can serve them by phone. Serve them by email, we can do that. I mean, if the.
With our tax auto registration tax person in our office this morning, and anyone who comes in without wearing a mask, if you refuses service to that person, ask them to come back with a mask on. Are we good or not?
I don't think they can refuse to serve someone simply because they're not wearing a mask.
I think you can set up you can say, I'll serve you. You need to stay 6 feet away from me. I'll serve you. Can we do something, you know, remotely? I'm going to serve you one way or the other. It doesn't mean that I'm going to allow you to come in my safe space without a mask. You know, if we've decided that's our standard.
Okay. Well,
No, we shouldn't be refusing service to anyone for county business.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Judge.
So getting back to what just transpired, did he say how long the declaration is going to go through?
He did. He only said the stay-at-home order, Judge. The declaration is still in place. As far as he only said my stay-at-home order expires on the 3rd. He did not say anything about the emergency declaration, which are two different things. And so FEMA typically, we must be under the declaration to get reimbursed or have any access to those funds.
Aren't we still under, we're still under from the flood?
Yeah, we're still under the flood, and we can keep running this out. And what Matt and I were talking about is running it through the 29th. We have a commissioner's court on May 26th. So if we run it another month, we may see a change. But if we go ahead and extend it now through May 29th, we can discuss it again on May 26th.
Yeah, or May 26th even,
Yeah,
but whenever after that date.
we can keep
This order doesn't break anything that Ms. Lane just said, does it?
No. And just for all of those that are listening online and everything, we've got a copy of what the governor has put out, and we'll put that on the Llano County website here immediately following this also, just so everyone can have access to it. It's got a lot of implications that have yet to be felt, I'm sure.
You want a motion for this?
I would like a motion for that.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the extension of the declaration of local disaster for public health and emergency to May 29th.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Judge,
Any opposed?
I did not hear who seconded.
Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Who did the
I
second?
did, Marcy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Excuse me one second.
Drives me crazy how these things are put in our bills sideways.
Yeah. Okay, on that, we'll conclude this Commissioners Court. The time is 4:27.
That's why.
Appreciate everybody joining in. Yes. And we'll conclude this one and go into the hot.
Get started. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Are we started, Judge? I think we're still on it. We don't, yeah, I see the people that are on this list that are gonna talk.
I already got it.
Oh, good.
You need a copy?
Yes, I do. It is so freaking slow. You're the best. Yeah, if you want to run 2 more copies.
Sure.
One for the judge, one for Matt.
Yeah, give me just a moment. I'm uploading it. When he said to upload it, I started to upload it.
I just make a copy.
I did 2-sided. No, I'll do it. Give me just a minute and I'll send it over there. You're welcome.
Jennifer, we can hear you.
I'm sorry. Where did the judge go?
He's sitting at the desk. Oh,
Sorry about that, guys.
Me?
what is that? Oh,
It's this chair.
oh, wow. Yeah. Need me to help you, Judge?
I am back. Unfortunately, we lost 2 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know. I never did hear. I didn't call her. I never did hear her say anything.
Who are you looking for?
You.
You.
I'm waiting.
We were asking if you could come over.
Oh, yes, I can. I didn't hear that. Thank you.
Yes. Make a real quick phone call.
You notice the jurors have nice big cushions in their chairs. And the auditor and the county clerk have wonderful padded chairs. Counts. The defense is.
Yeah.
This one's nice. Doesn't roll.
Are we started, Judge? Okay.
Here she is.
Where am I supposed to go?
Well, up here in that nice comfortable chair.
Is that 6 feet from me?
I think it's exactly 6 feet, 30, 6 feet. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know I was supposed to come.
Right.
Have you started it yet? You have started it not? I'm gonna give you something. Do you want me to send you an email with a summary of what I said so you can do your press release later? Or do you want us to do it yourself here?
Why? I'm not fast.
You can understand if you don't know that.
Okay, the time is 4:35 and we can start the Commissioners Court for the HOT grants for April 27th. All commissioners are present, as is Teresa Castle and Cindy Lent. Commissioners, y'all have any comments before we get started?
I would just like to request that we vote on these as we go through them.
Okay,
Instead of having them present and us going back, it takes twice as long.
Especially doing it like that.
Yes, especially like this.
I would just like to add that we don't have, we're $23,180.61 short of giving everybody everything.
Yes, sir.
okay, so we'll move first to agenda item 1, discussion of possible action, consider a grant application in the amount of $3,428.86 from Junk Hippie, a vintage market that encourages new business growth and tourism to each community they visit.
Judge, can we better remove the supplement agenda item number 1 up there on the
Oh, I'm
dates?
sorry.
I'll make a motion, we remove the supplement agenda item number 1 that says discussion and possible action to set the 2020-2021 hot grant meeting dates and deadlines.
So you're just making a motion to remove them all altogether?
That whole agenda item number 1 and the option 1 and option 2, because we've already taken care of that before in approving the rules and regulations and meeting date.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second that.
We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Now we move down to agenda item 1 for the junk hippie. So I don't know who the applicant was on that. Are they online? Oh, there we go.
Jen.
Yeah, right there. Kristen Grundy, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes, she's waiting.
Kristen, if you want to go ahead and tell us about it.
Okay. We're in our 9th year. We're a family-owned and operated business. We do shows all over Oklahoma and Texas. And usually we go to all over the place, kind of Houston, Amarillo. And so we had a show in Llano in December. We had about 50 vendors from all over Texas. We had a lot of local vendors also. And excuse me, we had shoppers coming from Houston, Lubbock, Dallas. We kind of pulled from all over the state.
You brought to Llano, to the county?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that.
I asked you how many people you said you brought to Llano County to stay.
Okay, we had about 50 vendors and then we had about 800 shoppers. And so we had a lot of local people come and we had people coming from all over. So I don't have the total number of who actually spent the night there. My estimate was we had about 60 people that stayed one night and 40 people stayed 2 nights. I'm sorry?
They stayed in the city or the county, or do you know? The unincorporated areas?
Yes. I don't know specifics. I know they stayed, our vendors stay as close as possible because we set up on Friday and then the event's on Saturday. And setup day is a long day, so I know they stay as close as they can. So I wish I knew exactly where they stayed. I know they stayed in Llano.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant?
I have a question. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
What do you charge your vendors to have a booth?
Each 10 by 10 space is $150.
Okay. And you have admission charge?
Yes,
For
we
the
charge
attendee?
$5 at the door for adults. Kids 13 and under are free. And
How
then
many?
we do at each event, we change. I'm sorry.
Go ahead and restate what you were saying.
Okay. Kids 13 and under are free. And then for adults, it's $5. But for each event, we change it up at each location, but we choose a different group to give free admission. So at the Llano show, we did free admission for teachers. And we had a lot of Llano teachers. We had teachers coming from San Antonio, from Austin. So we just kind of switched that up at each event to give back to some different group.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Not about this not about this one, but Teresa, the dollar amount, and forgive me because mine is sideways. So I want to ask you, what is how many funds are available? And we have a request today for about 128. Okay.
The difference between those two numbers. On this particular one,
How are you basing that, Commissioner? Because I know like on,
well, you subtract the money available from the money being requested, sir.
okay, which number did you use in agenda item 2?
On what? On 2?
Yes, sir.
I'm not on item 2.
Do what?
I use the number that the auditor used, 61,000. If we don't fund that one to one of those other levels and so on and so forth, but the total requests on our forms are 128.4.86.
On item 2, I did use the highest.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure of. Okay.
Okay. Excuse me.
Judge has 3 options.
Well, I do too. I mean, I see it here. On this one for this junkie hippie or hippie junkie, what is it? Hippie? Junk hippie, from their vendors and from their admissions, they've got somewhere between $15,000 and $17,000 coming in. And these, I looked online, these things, is it one company all over Texas? Because they're going on everywhere in Texas.
I don't know. Ask her.
Or is it a franchise?
It's my family. It's me and my husband, and we do shows all over Texas. It's us.
I'm sorry? What'd she say? It's just her all over Texas?
Yes, we do shows all over. It's me and it's my family that does this. We're not a franchise.
So you do them in, I went online, you do them in Rosenberg and Houston and you name it, you've been there.
Yes. Yeah, we do. The numbers I had for this show, I had 4,000 in ticket sales and 6,500 in vendor booths. So our total was right at 10,500. And then the amount for advertising was the 3,400.
Well, I just took your booth spaces and then your adults and your 800 people and so forth and ran that number up. And then you said there was a child number and I didn't add that in. And then this is held inside the city limits. I don't see how we can fund this. For profit inside the city limits. Did you take that? Has that been taken out of that other?
That's all that matters to me because that's where our money comes from. Or that's where the hotel occupancy tax money comes from. I know we just approved those rules that are coming into effect in a few days, but they're still sort of are in effect already. Yeah, as far as that goes, put heads in beds in the unincorporated areas and incorporated lodging facilities.
And part of follow-up should be able to substantiate that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any follow-up. No, so
Well,
there's
this
no
is
follow-up.
new.
She gave us all her advertising.
She did do. She gave advertising follow-up. She did not do survey for heads in beds though. Correct.
So have we utilized this before?
No. New.
It's new.
I had to get a follow-up on something.
She sent in,
She had it.
She did this in December, is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, it was December 7th.
Yeah, she did this in December.
She's had the event, but we didn't, they weren't requested
Oh,
funds.
she's just giving us the information from that.
So this event's over and what are we funding, a future event? I mean, if the event's already been held and they've already received the money from everything, why are we giving event money?
Well, when is the next event?
We'll be
When?
back there October
Llano.
17th. We'll be back October 17th for Western Weekend.
I couldn't understand what she said.
October
October
17th.
17th.
October 17th? Okay. So,
For me, is it Gandhi?
Grandy,
Grandy, sorry. For me, Miss Grandy, I think that we need some more information that shows that people actually stay in the unincorporated areas in the lodging facilities in the unincorporated areas of the county. That's just my opinion.
okay, what type of information would maybe a vendor survey or what exactly would you need?
Well, we've asked some of these bigger events to provide surveys that cost a lot of money. But even if you polled the lodging facilities, and this is just me speaking, not the court. But if you polled the lodging facilities outside of the city limits, because the Llano County hotel occupancy tax money, it does not come from within the city. That the city collects their own. So our money, the money that's in the hotel occupancy tax money here in the Llano County comes strictly from lodging facilities in the unincorporated areas, which means outside the city limits. So for us to fund events, they should benefit those lodging facilities. So I would either probably in the next event you have, I would ask those lodging facilities, and they're easy to get a list of them. You can get a list of them from our treasurer's office or the Chamber of Commerce's, and find out if people are coming to your event and staying in those lodging facilities in the unincorporated areas. That's the big kicker right there. They not, in the Best Western or the other motels in town, that doesn't really matter because they don't benefit this fund.
Okay.
That clear as mud?
Mm-hmm.
At this time, I'll make a motion. We do not fund the junk hippie for the reasons I just stated.
I'll second.
Not. Further discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Ma'am, just so you understand, it was not funded.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll move to agenda item 2. Discussion and possible action, consider a grant application for Llano County with 3 funding options to make repairs and restoration to the historic Llano County courthouse clocks and chimes. Option number 1 is $61,500 to restore the E. Edward Tower clock. Option number 2 is installation of an automatic electric timekeeping system. And option 3 is an installation of a programmable chime system for that clock. And I will state that I turned this in, and so I will abstain from the vote. But the clock has not worked since I don't know how long. It's a historic, iconic figure, and when people come here, that's one of the first impressions they have of the county is this clock, this time. And if we go with option number 1, 61,000, or if the county chooses to go with option number 1, 61,000, a company that is approved by the Texas Historic Commission will come in and they'll disassemble the clock. They'll take it down from the tower. They'll take it to their shop. They'll rebuild it basically, and then test it, then disassemble it, bring it back, take it up into the tower and reassemble it. That would extend the life of that, but that would not really serve future, I guess, future courts, because it would eventually get right back to the same problem it is now, being a historic piece of equipment that can't be worked on. the second option is for,
The future courts, what?
if they were to restore it like it was, then eventually the commissioner's court would be faced with the same problem again, the courthouse would, of having it wear out again. So that, the second option was to get them to come in and put electronic clocks on the back of each one of those so that they all keep the same time. And that's the one that was 19,000.
And it still look the same?
It would not change it one single bit. All it would do is it would keep time.
What did you say?
This company is approved by the Historic Commission.
If the historic commission would allow that.
Do option 2?
Yeah.
Because it's not changing the face. I mean, it's not changing the appearance.
Okay.
And then the same thing with the chimes. They would come in and do the chimes as well.
The wagons have been replaced also.
I'm sorry?
I said all the wagons have been replaced also.
Well, it's an option. Like I say, it's one of those things where every day you see people out there taking pictures of the courthouse. And, growing up here, I remember the chimes. I remember how it worked. But
So Judge, so I understand, option 2 is to fix the electronic timer. Option 3 is in addition.
correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Option 3, they can come in and fix the clock for the 19,000.
Right, Judge?
I'm sorry?
The face and the hands and the dials will be the same. They come in and put automatic mechanisms to make that work,
Yes.
and a chime system to make that work
And the chimes,
on each of the faces. How many
yes.
faces are there? 4. So that's $28,700 and change probably for that versus all of that construction and tear down and redo and
It's an option I wanted to bring before y'all. And like I say, I'm going to abstain from it.
well,
I said it's an option I wanted to bring before you to use the hot funds for historic event or historic features. And like I said, I will abstain from voting on this since I introduced it.
well,
I really like old things. I love this old courthouse and everything in it. But that thing is, whenever I got on the court, they were still redoing the top and all that in 2007. We really pushed them to get it all fixed and finished, and I don't know that it's ever worked. I don't know if that clock is actually, it worked for a little while and then you look up there and it didn't have the right time on it. And now I don't think it moves at all, does it?
No, building maintenance has worked. They've gone in and they've modified it. They've worked on it. They've done everything they can. It's an old clock that has to be wound.
Yeah.
So that's not.
Well, it seems to me we need to have it work and we don't want to have it break again. It looks like, and it looks like it's twice the price to fix the old one rather than refurbish the workings of the one that's there now. And I mean, how important is the chime? People look forward to the chime.
And they're checking.
It's important if you grew up here.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I
Is
agree
it?
with that.
Is it? Okay.
We heard that time.
And you can program it also. So at holidays, it could do tunes.
So you can put 4th of July patriotic songs on the chime or whatever. That's cool.
I don't know that it's not going to sing. It may play a tune.
Seems to me that options 2 and 3 are ones that we should be.
I'll be happy to make a motion to option 2 and 3 because I think it's quite important not to have it torn down and be out of sync when it's summer and people are coming and they're taking a picture of our courthouse and the top is missing or the clock's not working.
You want to give it
So-
a total amount?
19,300 for option 2 plus 9,466 for the chimes.
So a total of 28,766.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll second that.
And just before we vote on it, is this, we talked about historical commission would agree to the reworkings of
Yeah,
the mechanics.
The judge said that.
the quote that we got this from, the company is an approved vendor with the Texas Historical Commission. That's who came in and did it. And that's one of the problems of getting it worked on is there's the vendors who are qualified to work on it are far and few between. Cindy?
No, It,
Correct
I
me
don't
if
know
I'm
if
wrong.
it's,
Votes or anything, but
Oh.
normally you have to get more than one bid. We have to follow our purchasing policy.
Not for,
Not for the hot?
no, no.
Okay.
no, if
And
we're
who's it?
paying out.
This is,
Yes, that's right.
Cool. Then we're
this
good.
is part of
We would.
historic restoration we can do.
Without quote.
My other
Yes, for
question is,
them,
is-
yes.
This does qualify under the hot expenditures.
It won't
it
be
does.
if you purchased it, it's going right from
does.
them.
It's just like any of the work we do on the Red Top Jail and stuff
Would've
like
been nice
that,
if I'd
when we
have
did the roof.
It's embarrassing to come by and have a thing.
That vendor double checks with the historical things.
No, I
They
agree.
approve it.
So we had a vote, we had
No.
a motion and a second?
So we had a
Yeah.
motion, we had a second. So any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I abstain. Agenda item 5, discussion of possible action to consider a grant application from Kingsland Lake LBJ Chamber of Commerce to enhance the Kingsland Lake LBJ area by supporting local businesses engaging in activities that promote tourism and operating a visitor center. The funding request is split into 3 parts. They are number 1, $750 for membership. Number 2, $12,500 for cost of print of Kingsland, Texas magazine. And number 3 is $17,220 for operational expenses related to the visitor center.
Lisa, what did we do last year on this, or last time? Do you remember?
We did not award them anything last year.
No, we didn't?
We didn't pay for the, I thought we paid them some. I thought we didn't.
Didn't we for the magazine?
Well, yeah, I thought we did, we did this. Remember the signs? We did the signs.
We did do a sign, but I don't believe it was in this last year.
Well,
Who's the applicant on this? Who can speak?
I think Susan Patton, is still there.
Yeah, I see her here.
Susan, is it you?
they
Hello.
never fixed the sign.
Yes, sir.
I'll look back.
Seen her on here.
There she is.
That's Susan?
Yeah.
Here.
Go ahead, Susan.
I can either share my screen, or if you have the presentation in front of you that was submitted as part of the application, that's what I will be working from. This is you asked us to come annually, and so this is our annual request. It is consistent with what you funded last year, a little bit less, actually. The total is $30,470. I do want to speak to the sign. We did replace the sign with a better looking sign. We were not able to get the LED from the money that you guys sent us. We have secured an LED sign, but it hasn't been installed yet. But it will be going up at the corner of at Prosperity Bank. So we were able to fund that separate and apart. That's this follow-up to last year. The lodging memberships, this is the same as last year. It's $75 of the $100. It's half of the $150 membership fee. We're asking for 10 memberships for a total of $750. The magazine, we print 10,000 copies. It's distributed in 12 Texas travel centers and more than 100 Hill Country businesses and locations. It has already been published. It was published right before COVID came. We have distributed, it's being distributed at the places that are open, like Buddy's and Wake Point and the Chamber office, and places where we've been able to get it out. All of the lodging facilities have them and have them in their rooms. And we will be pushing, it sounds like we're going to be able to get some out in the coming weeks as businesses are starting to reopen. It has ads highlighting Llano County and Kingsland travel. It has a 3.5-page listing of all of the Llano County lodges, and it has all kinds of editorial content about what to see and do in Llano County. We talk a lot about, of course, Kingsland, but we include all of the other stuff. Our request is printing reimbursement of $12,500 That's not quite half of the printing costs. I'm sorry, I misspoke. This is the same as last year. Our printing costs were actually more than 12,500, but we absorbed the additional cost. And of course, the chamber pays for the design and the ad sales and the printing and the distribution. We don't ask the county to pay for any of that. For the visitor center, I think y'all know this is the only visitor center in this area of Llano County. We distribute maps, brochures, magazines. Pre-COVID, we were answering about 30 a day, either on the phone or on the email or in person. We did expand hours on weekends, and we did an experiment in the summer. We were open, I think it was 7 or 8 weekends, and we never had more than 5 visitors a day. And so we determined that maybe Saturdays didn't make a lot of sense, but we did increase our daily hours. They were 10 to 2, and we were able to increase them to 9 to 4, Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays on Memorial Day, July 4th, and Labor Day weekends. And so the other thing that we have done, we added a contract marketing specialist who is doing a lot more on Facebook and on our website. And you may have noticed we've just been way more active promoting tourism, promoting local businesses, but mainly just promoting Llano County. And again, our request is $17,220. That helps offset the cost of running the visitors center. I do want to mention, you probably have noticed that our building is for sale. We believe that a new location will provide a more professional environment, a more high profile location on the typical parade route when things go through town. We believe it will increase the visitors to the visitor center. We expect to be at the corner of 1431 and Ewell Moore, where the Landmasters is, right there at the tail end of the parade route, but most importantly, right as you're coming into town on 1431. The sale of our 1431 footage will also help us stabilize the chambers and the visitor center's finances, which we think is the fiduciarily responsible thing to do. So, but that's it on the visitor center. The packet did include how that money, where we come up with the 17,220. And I think you should have that chart in front of you. The bulk of it is for personnel. And again, y'all only pay for half of that. I appreciate Commissioner's commitment to the unincorporated areas of the county, Kingsland being the largest. We applaud you for the revamping of those rules. I know that wasn't easy, Jaredon, so thank you for leading that effort. There's a chart in your packet. The vast majority of the receipts from hotel taxes come from Kingsland, about 63% last year. Kingsland brought $151,000 in hot taxes. Of course, we don't know what will happen this year with COVID, but just for reference, in 2019, Kingsland brought in 151,000, almost 152,000. The only thing not included in this effort was we did start a new event, a haunted house themed event to bring visitors to Kingsland in the October area when lodges are not very full. We had tremendous success. We did not include any funding for that event in this request because we knew that you were revamping the rules. And frankly, as we were putting this together, COVID was about to start, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen. And so in the event we're able to pull off that event in the fall, we may come back to you in your new annual requests. And and we'll just see what happens at that point. So I will stop and answer any questions that you might have.
Anybody have questions for Susan?
I don't either.
If there's no questions from the commissioners, I'll make a motion that we approve the request from Kingsland Lake LBJ Chamber of Commerce for the $30,470. And I was impressed. I didn't realize we would have generated $151,000 last year with all the grief that we went through with all of those lodgings and everything. So that's,
I'll second.
Second it? Okay. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your support.
We move to agenda item 4, discussion of possible action to consider a grant application from Lake Buchanan Conservation Corporation in the amount of $8,002 to maintain and improve the effectiveness of Lake Buchanan as a recreational area, $5,450 to be used for stocking of hybrids, and $2,552 to fund 50% of installation and construction of a dock.
He was on just a minute ago.
He's
He was on there. I don't see him.
he's there.
Mr. Absher?
Ron, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. There he is.
Can you hear us, Ron?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm getting a flash on here that I've got an unstable internet connection, so that's probably what's going on.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Okay, that's what, we all have had a long day, haven't you? This won't take long. This is a little different. We're asking for, or had applied for the hybrids as we have for the last 10 or 11 years. And we're not going to need that money. We made the choice 3 weeks ago. We were concerned as to whether this meeting would even take place, or if y'all would have funds to give out. And we approached Texas Parks and Wildlife and asked them if, on a one-time emergency basis, that if they'd give us $1 million of their hybrids. Just got the notice back here a couple of days ago that they're going to do that. So y'all are going to have an extra $5,000 there to do something with anyway. The dock, I think y'all are familiar with the fact that we put in 2 or 3 docks there at Llano County that have not held up. They've been of aluminum construction. We have to, I mean, it's imperative that we have a dock there to keep people coming in. I think, and that's what Commissioner Roschke might correct me, but I think we had 6 major tournaments using that facility over there during the past year. And I know of 2 additional ones that are coming this year. That's where the visitation comes from. I mean, some of those individual tournaments will bring in over 1,000 people. And they're here for 2 days. They're staying somewhere. And that's what we know, that that's in those lake area cottages and so on. So it's imperative that we have that. And what we were asking, we thought maybe y'all might be able to go half of the cost of that dock. We'll be putting it in about 3 weeks, the way things look right now. That's really about all I have to say. We'll be back next year looking for hybrid money. But right now, that's all we really need is this.
Mr. Absher, I hope you don't have anything else to say because we can't understand you. Are you good with this, Linda?
Yeah, he's asking for just half the cost of the dock that was destroyed in the storm. They got Texas Parks and Wildlife wrong. Me if I get any of this wrong.
Right.
The 5450 is being absorbed by Texas Parks and Wildlife. They are going to fund that this year. So all that LBCC is requesting is the 2552, which is half the cost of the dock. And Ron, do you have a date when that's supposed to be in?
3 weeks is what we're told, that approximately 3 weeks.
Okay, did I get that all right?
Yes, yeah, perfect.
Okay.
So do I have a
Any
motion?
questions? I'll make a motion to approve the 2552 to fund 50% installation and construction of the new dock that will be at the Llano County Park, and it will Lake Buchanan Conservation Corp.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner.
I'll second.
Not the fish?
This cover-
Oh,
That's what he was saying.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, we couldn't hear.
Couldn't hear. Okay.
So what is the amount? Is the 20?
2552. Thank you, Ron.
Did you get a second?
We got a
You bet.
second.
Sorry you couldn't hear
We've
that.
got a motion and we've got a second. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Congratulations, sir. Agenda item 5, discussion of possible action to consider a grant application from Kingsland Aquaboom in the amount of $25,000 to continue to develop Aquaboom through advertising with a sustained commitment to fill Llano County lodging facilities. That would be Miss Taylor.
Hello, Commissioners Court. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good deal. Well, it's for the most part, pretty much same old, same old. I know that last year we had asked y'all for a little bit more for our 50th, but I pulled it back to our regular. But I also recognize that receipts right now are pretty dismal. And this might help. There has not been a public statement issued and there has not been a final vote taken. However, it looks pretty positive that we are going to be moving all of Aquaboom activities to Labor Day weekend. We don't, even if people are willing to travel and come, 90% of my premium sponsors are small businesses that are shut down right now. They don't have the money to dish out for $1,000 to $3,000 sponsorships, not to mention all of our 40 events plus event sponsors that are, those are all small businesses and they're smaller sponsorships. But right now, no one has any funds at all. And I don't see that happening by the 4th of July because we need that money now for deposits on fireworks and porta potties and get the advertising started and all that. And it's just not there. But I also told my board that I wanted to wait until this commissioner's court because I wanted to give the county an opportunity to render any opinions, have any input that y'all may have, thoughts that y'all may have on that before we just made a final decision.
I have some thoughts. A lot of these events are on different, just normal weekends. Y'all's is a kind of a special weekend, so is there any chance you could just downsize a little bit and still have an event on the 4th of July weekend if it's okay? I know, Judge, you may know, I haven't heard of any time that anybody talk about having gatherings. They're just now opening stores and you still can't go get a haircut. So I don't know that it'll be by that time you could still have a mass gathering or gathering of any kind.
Well, and that's another factor is kind of the uncertainty of it, because here's what happens. If we push forward and we decide, okay, we're gonna go like it's the 4th of July and all of that, all of my deposits could be moved to Labor Day weekend if we needed to, except I lose every advertising dollar I've got, and definitely don't have the money to replace that, to advertise for a new weekend. One of the biggest, hugest factors, not only because of the sponsors, but we would have started Sea-Doo sales a month ago. We've had no Sea-Doo sales, and that is a huge bulk of our revenue that pays for that fireworks show and pays for the logistics, pays for the printing and the advertising inside the 50-mile radius. And we have zero money. And
What kind of sales?
the Sea-Doo raffle.
You still couldn't have a raffle?
Well, we could, but I have no idea when we're going to be allowed to start that. And I mean, we sell Sea-Doo tickets for 2.5 to 3 months to pay for this. There's just no money right now. And, there's $19,000 in sponsors right now that have said, I'm sorry, we cannot give you any money right now. I mean, there is no fun. I have 3 of my premium sponsors that could pay right now, and that's it.
Let's think about something. What happens in Kingsland, Texas on the 4th of July if there's no aqua boom whatsoever? Nothing going on. What do you do?
Well,
And I'm not arguing with you. I'm asking.
and I understand that. Now, one thing is the gentleman that's down the river, he is still going to have I have confirmed with him, he is still going to have his fireworks show. So there will still be fireworks to watch on the river. We would have been competing with him anyway. So there is still going to be a big fireworks show on the river. It'll just be on the Colorado arm instead of the Llano arm. So there is that. Now, as far as anything else, Commissioner Moss, I can't answer that question. I don't know.
Well, I didn't realize.
I just know I can't get blood from a turnip. And
I got you.
we have, I have to put deposits down now in order to I have to get advertising started now. And I
didn't realize there was another fireworks show that went on.
There is a huge, if it's not as big as ours, it's close to, and he always does it the Saturday closest to Aquaboom. So every 6 years that it rotates around that Aquaboom falls on a Saturday, we end up competing with him. Other than that, they're always on different nights, but it is a huge show. It is simulcast on the radio, just like ours is. And so there is that for those that want to traditionally come out and watch fireworks on the river.
Okay, well, that's just kind of my main concern, or where I was going, because you've got to have fireworks in Kingsland.
I talked to him, and what we kind of decided, I told him that I would use the Aquaboom format to help advertise his show and push his show. If come Labor Day weekend, if that's what we decide to do, he will reciprocate. So we can use, Aquaboom's Facebook page, their website, things like that to help guide people that there is a fireworks show. There is a fireworks show to watch. You can get out on the water. There's a million places in town you can see it from. But I just don't see, and I have, and trust me, Commissioner Moss, this is not something we have tried to wrap our brain around how to do this on the 4th of July for about a month now. And I can't come up with any solutions.
I get it.
The question I have, Wendy, is having it up on the Colorado limits the access for a lot of people who depend upon the bridge, the boat town, frontage, etc. And the few places you're speaking of in town to see it from, are those not on private property?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
There's not in my knowledge of that area, there's not a lot of places that are not private property where a lot of people would go to watch it.
Yeah.
On the Colorado. If you have a boat, you're in it, you're in good shape.
But that's a private show, and I can't control where he has his, and we can only afford to do one a year.
I understand, but we still want to think about the
Wait, are we talking about their fireworks show or somebody else's fireworks show?
No, she,
That's theirs that we have
he
to
had,
say.
up on the Colorado, this guy throws a big show. But trying to make Aqua Boom work up there for a number of people who don't have boats, who depend on standing on the bridge and cheering and being at Boat Town and everywhere there, they're left out. There's nowhere up there to do that. What about the parade and the other events on the 4th? If it comes to pass, we can have them. What are we gonna do about those? Miss Aqua
We'll have it in
Boom.
September.
We'll have it Labor Day weekend. We will do.
Oh, I didn't hear her say
Labor
that.
Day weekend.
Have everything in September.
Precedence for this. We have moved it to Labor Day weekend before. And there is precedence for this. And it did work out really well the year that they did that. They've only done it once, but it has been done. No, we would move everything to Labor Day weekend.
Probably a good decision. A hard one, but a good one.
Yeah.
Well, it just,
Well, maybe a Labor Day.
we looked at, and that may be, we may kind of change up the theme a little bit, would still be the Aqua Boom. I don't call it.
Aqua Boom delayed.
Aqua Boom delayed. There you go. But now we looked at, with everything uncertain, we have no idea what people's comfort level is going to be in traveling. This would give them the summer to get comfortable traveling, do a really big advertising push over the summer to get people in these lodgings for Labor Day weekend. Hopefully by Labor Day weekend, they're going to be trying to book for then anyway. But bottom line, even if we were at a point where people were comfortable, my business is not, they have no money coming in right now. Now they're about, but they're so far behind that it's going to take them a while to really get back on good financial footing that they can fork out those sponsorships that we have.
Right.
So
I would agree with all of that. And if there's no further discussion from the commissioners, I would make the motion that we approve the $25,000 based on everything we just heard, and hopefully get it done in September.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor say aye. Motion carries.
appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And if any of y'all have any ideas, any thoughts, any questions, feel free to reach out, because we're all kind of muddling through this the best we can. And so if y'all think of something that we haven't, please let me know, because I'm interested to get input from anybody and everybody that's got thoughts.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Thank y'all so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that'll conclude the hot grant workshop. Thank you.
And it looks like we're going to have about $18,000 seed money moving toward October.
86,700.
How much?
86,000.
86.
Is what we just.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But I think the balance then would be, and we'd have 18,000 or so moving forward. Wendy is, you know, Linda, you and I have talked about Wendy before. She keeps talking and I can't hear her. I'm gonna have to have her speak up. I'm saying, no, he killed us.
Judge, did you adjourn?
What we need is a good speaker, one good speaker right here.